Hi, it's Shane again. I'm here to talk a little bit more about 2010 NFL Draft. And last time we talked about quarterbacks, and this time I'm going to talk about running backs. First, I want to give you a little bit about my background so I'm not just, random YouTube guy who's talking to you about whatever. Um, Last year I did some work on barracudasports.com. I got to write some articles about the 2009 NFL Draft, and that was a lot of fun. And I also have done some work over at draftcountdown.com as well as the forums over there. And hopefully I'm going to be doing a little bit more work for them this year. It's my hope. So if you want to check either of those sites out, you can go head over and take a look at the description up here, and you can take a look at those and maybe see what you find. Find some good info on the draft. Now, today, like I said, we're going to be talking about running backs. So I'm going to start with some of the ones that I like, some of the ones that I think are going to be still at the top of their class when we come to April. And, we're still a year away, and so a lot of things changed. I'm probably going to reiterate that in just about all my videos. But last year, if we were talking about quarterbacks, seniors, I probably would have been talking about Colin Harper and Curtis Painter, guys that really fell when the draft came in April. So some of the guys to talk about now may not even get drafted, but these are guys that I feel confident will have a good college football season, guys I feel confident will be near the top of that. First person I want to start with is Jonathan Dwyer, running back out of Georgia Tech. And he's really big guy, tough runner, can go inside, he has great vision, can see holes. The knock on him is system, which is not something we usually hear from running backs, right? Quarterbacks, we hear about system, they're in a spread, can they translate to the pro style offense, take snaps under center, and quarterback's a little more difficult position. The running backs, we don't hear about that too much. Sometimes with guys in that spread, like West Virginia's system with Steve Slayton, we heard about it a little bit, or sometimes Florida's system, and we saw Steve Slayton even translate well into the zone blocking scheme in the NFL, so maybe this will be fine. But with Jonathan Dwyer and Georgia Tech, they have a very different scheme. They're kind of using a hybrid of that triple option type of offense, really run-based, really knock it up the gut straight, using a B-back, using a fullback, all those type of things in that way. So it's a little bit different. So people think, are his numbers, he's had great numbers last year, are his numbers because of this offense or because of him? And if you watch him play, you'll see that he's very talented, and he's going to be able to translate well to the NFL. We even see him out on the edge sometimes, making people miss, and he's a big guy. And the thing about that is that's not going to change. His stock's not going to fall a whole lot because he doesn't run a fast 40. Look at Chris Wells last year. Chris Wells, we knew, was going to be a first-round pick. Some people had him pegged as top 5. He ran a very, very bad 40 at the combine and fell because of his speed, because on the film we saw him have some of that breakaway speed. He still went in the first round, even though it was 31st. And with Jonathan Dwyer, it would be the same thing. He could run anywhere from maybe a 4.4, 4.45 to maybe even a 4.55, worst case being a 4.6, which I don't think will happen. And even if he runs that, he'll probably still get taken pretty highly if he comes out as a junior. And so I think you're going to see Jonathan Dwyer be successful, and I think could be, if he runs that 4.4, 4.45, you could see him be be a top 5 pick. So he's a guy I like a lot, a guy that you should maybe take a look at when this college football season comes, playing some of those ACC games, Georgia Tech, what happens there. Next, I want to move on and talk about the 2 Oklahoma running backs. And we're talking about another tandem. We see a lot of tandems in the NFL draft, right? Especially running backs. We saw Darren McFadden and Felix Jones 2 years back. Kind of 2 complements of each other. Darren McFadden was a guy that had that speed, running the Wildcat a little bit at Arkansas. And then, we saw Felix Jones, and we actually saw he has that breakaway speed as well when playing with the Cowboys. But we also saw it, maybe not to this extent, but with Reggie Bush, Glendale White. Now, I'm not saying that DeMarco Murray and Chris Brown, 2 running backs from Oklahoma, I'm not saying that they are going to be both first-round picks. They're going to be that highly touted. But I think when we look at the end of the season, they could be there with their workouts and whatnot. So let's go step by step here. DeMarco Murray is the junior. He's the guy who has to decide to come out early or stay in school. And he's probably the running back that when you see him play, you say, oh man, he looks good. He's that workout warrior. He has that breakaway speed. He gets into open space and he just zooms right gone. He's gone. And he's pretty good size, and he really can kind of do it all. He's going to have some talk about his injury issues. He got injured last season. He might be plagued with those again this season. We'll see what happens. And his toughness also can be questioned for DeMarco Murray. So we'll take a look at that and see what happens with him there. But he's probably the guy that people right now have rated higher in terms of this tandem. People think maybe he could come out and be the number one running back in this class if he has an excellent year. See if that happens. I do like Chris Brown, though. He's had a takeover when DeMarco Murray got hurt and really had a good year. And he got enough carries when DeMarco Murray was playing. They were kind of splitting, and he got to do some different things. He's a smaller type of running back at about 5'11", 190, but he is kind of a hard-nosed, get it up the gut, kind of run people down, fighting for those extra yards, get 3 more yards tacked on at the end of the play, even though it looks like he's going down kind of player. One of those players, again, who it's tough to drop his stock when we get to the NFL draft, because what he does on film is what he does well and what's going to translate. So, if he runs about what he's expected to run as a 40 time, probably not great. He's not going to fall too much. Right now, probably most places have him down a couple notches. I'd like him as maybe having in that first day, maybe even getting up into that first round. So we'll see what happens with him. But I think he's a player that could excel. And if Murray gets hurt again, a player that you could see catching passes and doing a lot of the things that we want to see NFL running backs doing in college. Now, some of the guys I'm not going to talk about today that are highly rated are probably going to wait till next time. Javid Best from Cal, Evan Royster from Penn State, Stephon Johnson from USC, and there's also a myriad of other running backs that I want to talk about as we get down the line. But we got plenty of months to go, plenty of guys to talk about. I think will be fine. So I'm going to pass on those guys for now. And probably the guy that most people have is the number one senior. I think everyone actually has as the number one senior, C.J. Spiller out of Clemson. Some people have him as the number one rated back. Right now I have him as my number 2 rated back. And C.J. Spiller is, if he would have came out last year, he probably would have been a fringe first-round pick. Probably would have fell to the second just based on how running backs went last year. But he probably would have had a secure spot in the second round because he has top-end speed. Probably going to run the fastest 40 out of the higher touted running backs in this class. He can get to the edge really well. He can do all those type of things. He catches the ball extremely well, and I think that's going to be one of those underrated qualities of his game that NFL teams are going to like more than, say, draftniks in the draft community are really going to hit on and take to heart and raise him up the rankings because of it. So look for that. And I think just that now he has the experience, and this is going to be his first year doing it by himself. Now, James Davis last year kind of got weeded out, and Clemson, we know, was a terrible, terrible college football team. So C.J. Spiller didn't have those grand opportunities to really excel, and he still did from time to time. So if Clemson takes a step forward with Davis gone, Spiller gets all the carries, he gets out there. We can see how well he blocks, maybe a little bit better this year. See what that happens. Once again, the questions are going to be kind of his build. Is he going to get hurt? Is he durable enough? His toughness. Can he fight for those extra yards against a linebacker? I don't know. I'm not sure about that yet. I definitely want to watch a little bit more film on him before I make a final decision. I want to watch his senior year and really see how he does. And it'll be interesting to see. I think really his stock is going to rise and fall with Clemson. I think James Davis' stock fell because Clemson fell last year. I think James Davis was very underrated by the time the draft came. As a 6th-round pick to Cleveland, I think he's going to have a shot to win that number 2 job. And so maybe if Clemson is that bad again, Spiller will go the same way. Because a running back, it's tougher to make that difference. We saw when Jay Cutler was at Vanderbilt, we saw Jay Cutler excel on a bad team, and people knew it, and people saw it, and could see that he was NFL ready. With a running back, it could be a little bit more difficult because you have to rely a lot on that blocking, a lot on the people around you. So I think C.J. Spiller is going to stay at that top of the senior rankings, but we'll see if some of these underclassmen might pass him on. So that's about it for today. Once again, if you have any questions, any comments, please comment below. I'll answer them, or I'll answer them in my next video even. So I like to take some question and answers and get to that point. But for now, doing good. Keep thinking about the draft. It's coming up. Keep thinking about the college football season, and let me know your thoughts about that. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you later.